A translation can be perfectly correct and still kill the sale. Imagine your service promise is clear in English. We reduce onboarding delays for growing software teams. Now, the translated version sounds formal, vague, and strangely distant. The grammar is fine. The buyer still cannot tell what you do, why it matters, or whether they understand their world.
Wait, so the words can be right, but the business can still be wrong?
Exactly. And that is the opportunity for a location-independent professional. You may not need a brand new service or 3 separate businesses. You may need to take one service you already deliver well, adopt the promise for a nearby market, and automate the repetitive preparation around it. One capability, more doors, without tripling the workload. Welcome to the AI and Future of Work podcast, episode number 8. I'm Marcus Chen. In the next minutes, you'll discover a powerful AI tool or workflow that can dramatically increase your nomad income. Today, we are building the AI localization ladder. Standardize, adapt, verify, and test.
And we are going to keep the ladder grounded. AI can draft market-specific language in seconds. It cannot become your cultural judgment, your legal advisor, or your final quality control department.
Right, the model drafts, you decide. The goal is not to pretend to be local everywhere. The goal is to make your existing expertise easier to understand for a new audience while staying honest about your proof, your limits, and the support you can actually provide.
Let's make that concrete. What kind of service belongs on this ladder?
Take a 7-day onboarding audit for small software companies. You review the customer journey, record 3 walkthroughs, identify friction, and deliver a prioritized report. The outcome is specific. The client gets a clearer list of onboarding problems and a practical order for fixing them. You have delivered it several times. You know the workflow, and you can explain what is included.
Good. That is more adaptable than I help businesses grow, because the boundaries are visible. There is a process, a timeline, a deliverable, and a reason the buyer might care.
Here is where many freelancers make the first mistake. They choose a country before they choose the offer. They see a growth headline, open a translation tool, and start rewriting their website. That creates activity, not necessarily demand.
Not the biggest market automatically?
Not automatically.
Good, because that is where people get into trouble.
Exactly. Start with one adjacent market where your existing expertise has a plausible bridge. If you understand software onboarding, perhaps you test a related group of agencies that build software for clients. If you already serve English-speaking consultants, you might explore a Spanish-language audience with a similar operational problem. You are not leaping into total unfamiliarity. You are looking for a nearby problem, a reachable audience, and a delivery model you can support.
I would add 3 questions before you commit. Do I understand how this buyer makes the decision? Can I reach qualified conversations with permission and respect? And can I deliver the service in a way that meets the market's language and support expectations?
Put the answers in a source of truth offer sheet before you ask AI to adopt anything. Airtable works well, and Notion can work too. Include the target customer, painful problem, method, deliverables, timeline, exclusions, approved proof, common objections, and the exact phrases clients use when describing the problem.
Add a field called must remain true.
Yes, that field might say, the audit includes 3 recorded walkthroughs. The report arrives within 7 business days, and no implementation work is included. Those are fixed facts. The headline, examples, call to action, and urgency language are flexible. Separating those categories prevents the model from making your offer sound more impressive by quietly changing what you deliver.
And it gives you somewhere to look when 3 market versions start drifting apart. Otherwise, 6 weeks later, you have different promises in different documents and no idea which one is current.
Here's the exact prompt in stock. In ChatGPT, paste the approved offer sheet and write, "Adopt this offer for market and audience. Preserve the outcome, evidence, constraints, and tone. Identify assumptions requiring human verification, then produce 3 positioning options. For each option, explain the buyer problem, the relevant proof, and what should not be claimed."
Show me what that produces for the onboarding audit, not the theory. the actual draft.
Let's say we are testing Spanish language software agencies that build products for small businesses. One draft headline might be, find the onboarding steps that make your clients hesitate and leave with a prioritized plan to improve them. Notice what changed. We did not claim guaranteed growth. We moved from a generic software company phrase to a concern the agency can recognize in its client work.
I like the direction, but I would flag make your clients hesitate. Is that how a native-speaking agency owner would describe the problem? It may be understandable, but understandable is not the same as natural.
That is exactly the human checkpoint. The draft is useful because it gives us something specific to examine, not because it is ready to publish. A native reviewer might suggest language closer to where prospective customers abandon the process, or a phrase that is more natural in that region and industry. We record the original, the AI draft, the reviewer note, and the approved version in Airtable.
And if there is no qualified reviewer?
Then the copy stays internal. Use it to research questions, compare positioning, and prepare for conversations, but do not put uncertain market-facing language on a landing page and assume fluency equals trust. The speed comes from reducing blank page work. It does not come from eliminating judgment.
That is the human plus AI advantage. The machine gives you variations. The person checks whether the promise sounds credible, whether the example belongs, and whether the wording respects the audience instead of performing a stereotype.
Once the market version is approved, build the demand assets. Start with one landing page section, then create 2 or 3 intake questions. Finally, draft a short outreach message for a small batch of qualified prospects. Do not ask the system to sound local, as if localness were a costume. Give it verified facts, the buyer role, the problem context, and the tone you actually use with clients.
What would one intake question look like?
For the agency example, at which point in your client's onboarding journey do users most often ask for help, stop responding, or fail to complete the next step? That question is better than asking for a long customer profile or collecting personal details you do not need. It helps diagnose the workflow and keeps data collection narrow.
Right. And do not quietly ask for sensitive customer data just because a form builder makes the field available. Localization is not permission to collect everything.
For outreach, use this prompt. Write a concise outreach message for role in market. Mention only this verified proof. Avoid stereotypes and ask one diagnostic question. Keep the tone respectful and make no guarantee about results. Then request 3 versions. You approve the message, the recipient, and the sending channel yourself.
And please do not let Make turn that into a machine that sprays messages at everyone.
Agreed. Make should route approved work, not decide who deserves an interruption.
Exactly. Use it to create a follow-up task, attach the approved landing page link, and flag a reply. Keep sending human until you know the message is relevant, the contact data was collected appropriately, and the workflow follows the platform's rules.
Here is the simplest make scenario. A new record enters Airtable. The record includes the market, offer version, approval status, reviewer, and landing page link. Make checks those fields. If approval status is approved and the required fields are complete, it creates a task in your project system and prepares a follow-up reminder. If approval is missing, the scenario stops and sends you a review notification. That stop condition is the feature that keeps your business from becoming an efficient source of awkward messages.
Automation should remove repetition, not remove responsibility.
Now test the offer before building a second market. Give yourself 48 hours. 1 proven service, 1 adjacent audience, 1 landing page section, 10 genuinely qualified prospects contacted through a channel and process you are permitted to use. Track replies, qualified replies, recurring questions, time to prepare the offer, and time to deliver the first version.
You keep saying qualified replies. What counts as qualified?
A qualified reply gives you evidence that the person fits the audience and recognizes the problem. They may describe a real onboarding bottleneck, ask about scope, or agree to a useful conversation. A polite sounds interesting is not the same signal. Neither is a page view. We are measuring conversations that could realistically lead to the service, not vanity metrics.
And track your own energy. If one new market produces replies but requires 3 new admin systems and twice the delivery complexity, that matters. A market is not attractive merely because someone responded. It has to fit your quality standard and your life.
Absolutely. This changes everything for nomads when the system stays simple. One source of truth, one approved offer, one market test. Then, only if the response quality and delivery capacity justify it, consider a second market. The goal is not to collect versions of your business, like digital souvenirs. The goal is useful, repeatable income that travels with you.
Let's talk about what makes us stop the launch. I want a real stop rule, not a vague reminder to be careful.
Here is the rule. If you cannot verify a claim, a cultural reference, a privacy requirement, or a contractual statement, remove it or pause the launch. If the model invents a case study, delete it. If it implies a regulatory, tax, or visa result, do not publish it as advice. If a price recommendation is based only on currency conversion, treat it as an untested hypothesis.
I'm not sure I buy the idea that one prompt can make pricing useful across markets.
You should not buy that idea. One prompt cannot solve pricing.
Good. Because buyers do not experience a price as an exchange rate calculation. They experience it alongside urgency, trust, alternatives, budget, procurement habits, and the perceived cost of the problem.
Exactly. Test a pricing hypothesis instead. Right. This audience may value a fixed scope onboarding audit if the proposal emphasizes reduced implementation time. Then compare the questions you receive, the seriousness of the conversations, and whether the work can be delivered profitably. Currency conversion is arithmetic. Pricing is context.
Before publishing, run the review checklist. Is the language natural for this region and industry? Are the examples genuinely relevant? Did AI invent proof, guarantees, regulations, tax advice, or visa implications? Are the intake questions collecting more personal information than necessary? Does the copy still sound like the real expert behind the service?
And ask one more question. Can I deliver what this version promises without creating a second full-time job? If the answer is no, narrow the offer. Maybe the first test serves one type of agency, one language, and one fixed scope audit. Start small, but think big.
That is the part people skip. They automate the marketing before they standardize delivery.
Yes, if every client receives a custom process, localization multiplies complexity. If the core service is repeatable, AI can help adapt the explanation, the examples, the intake, and the routing around it. The expert still owns the diagnosis and the result.
So what should someone do today, not someday, after rebuilding an entire operating system?
Choose one service you have already delivered successfully. Choose one adjacent market where the problem appears plausible. Open your Airtable or Notion offer sheet and add the fixed facts, flexible elements, approved proof, exclusions, and questions requiring human verification. Then run the adaptation prompt and select one positioning option for review.
Tomorrow, create one landing page section, 2 diagnostic intake questions, and 1 respectful outreach draft. Within 48 hours, contact 10 qualified prospects through an appropriate channel. Record what they actually say and compare the signals. Look at qualified replies, useful conversations, preparation time, delivery time, and whether the work fits your life.
And if the test is quiet, that is information. It may mean the audience is wrong, the problem is not urgent, the message is unclear, or the channel is inappropriate. It does not automatically mean you need 5 more automations.
Exactly. Go back one step and improve the offer before adding complexity. Standardize what is true. Adopt the message so the next audience can recognize its value. Verify language, culture, claims, privacy, pricing assumptions, and delivery expectations. Then test with a small, measurable experiment.
International reach should increase usefulness, not just volume. If the right people understand your expertise more clearly, you created leverage. If you only created more noise, simplify and try again.
That's your AI blueprint for today. Ready to implement this at a higher level? Enroll in our high-income remote skills courses at nomadlifesuccess.com/courses.
you'll find localization templates, automation blueprints, and guided implementation support to help you turn a promising offer into a workflow you can actually run, review, and improve.
Automate the ordinary. Amplify the extraordinary.